Whoops. Hello! I'm a little late. Welcome. My name's John Limcool. Oh, is there not? No, that's okay. Welcome to another weekly live stream. So this is from the UniSCREAM 2020 library. So what are we going to make for the 2020 library? I just released it last night. So welcome to everybody. Let me get the chat going here so I can say hi to everybody. See who's here. I hope you all had a great week. I have really cool news. Last week I showed you guys this TV commercial I was a part of. Well, it turns out it's going to be accepted. So it will be a nationally released in the Latin market of North America commercial, it looks like. So that's pretty cool. I got the news this morning. So in the video description, you will find a link to download UniSCREAM 2021. And I stayed up until 3 in the morning because I'm a nut, programming this out. So there's 28 patches, including some textures and all sorts of stuff. I'm going to show you how this works. There's under hits, you'll see each of the people that contributed their samples. This is from Derek Nicholas. Derek, awesome. We got all these really cool samples. If you open up Guru Sampler to each of these, you will see that there is now a name available. I'm going to actually probably refine these names even more so it's more descriptive as to what it is in each of the samples. The samples are printed this way, presented this way. And then if you want to use just this sample, then you would go through the list. Until you found it. Go through each of them. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong place. And then you would tune it. I'll get into all the details. I'm not going to do the whole program. We're going to actually make some patches together for this. But there's all of these like mad phrases. Derek, I didn't fix my text here. It's supposed to be Greg Dennis. Did these really, really cool phrases. Away. Back. Right? Disturbing textures from Isa John Hansen. Really, really cool stuff. All the maps start at C1. Total Insanity from Ian. I have no idea where he came. I think he's in Australia. No, he's not Australia. There's another gentleman that's from Australia that's got Kookaburra and stuff like that in this. But he had like these audio things of like chopping wood. And so I just pulled them all out as separate little samples from the one piece. Like layering those with snares. Happening, man. This crazy stuff. So these are available for the next until the 28th. You guys have until midnight of the 28th to make patches using this content. And I will put all the patches, no matter what level of programming skill you are at, they will all go in, because this is to get you guys to learn how to make programs. And, you know, some of us have been at this for 30 years and some of us are just starting out. And you all get an opportunity, they all get included, and then I'll release an updated version of this library that you guys can all download for free on the 30th, which is the day before Halloween. So it's gonna be really, really fun. Thank you to all you guys that contributed. Stephen Smith did these really cool and then here's my contributions. I took the 808 kit, put it through huge reverb. You need some really haunted hip hop grooves, so. And then there's door knocks. Let me in! I know you're in there. I'm pissed off, man. You poured an egg on my car. Then some hits. Textures. Oh, and then I included 3 samples from Mega Magic Violin samples that you guys have never heard before. These are not in the library. I didn't include them. They're haunted screeches and stuff. So you have a harmonic. And then you have scrunches. Ow! Oh, pull that sliver out, quick! And then to play with. So these are all part of a free library only for Unify. The samples are protected. They're not WAV files, so you can't use them anywhere else. It's only for Unify. So you have to own Unify. The 2020 library you can go download for free right now, which has all these patches everybody contributed from last year. A couple things from last year's library made it into this library. So the pipe organ is still here. So we have, actually I've optimized it, I normalized it, made it even. That's here. The Mine kit from Kendall Cochran. I got permission to these samples are all here from last year. And also the pad Able Unstable. Kind of a Mellotron string mix. Play minor chords. You know, stuff like that. So this is all part of the library for free. And we'll come back at the end of this video and do some programming together, okay? Because I want to show the concept of how it works with these maps, because it's a little bit different concept. For example, this is Snake Rattles. But if you open this up, it's actually from my map. I've just assigned snake rattles as the sample, and now it plays across the keyboard, so I have that to be able to be used. And then I have a texture turned off that I can turn on, and you probably want to turn this up, this down. Now I have a cool texture with a rattle effect kind of a thing to it, right? So we'll get into all the details. We'll make some patches together. I'll show you how to make a MIDI file and then incorporate that into the whole thing because it's really, really fun. So we'll do that at the end. A couple cool plugins came out this week. And here, need to have a sip of my mocha. Hang on. Oh, that's good. Sampler from first lesson of Suzuki. They're crazy samples because they're kind of the screechy. I wanted some scary things, and then just for Mega Magic Violin's library, it didn't really make sense to include those. But I've had them, and I was like, now it's time to unleash some of them on the world. So you guys get 3 never before heard Mega Magic Violin samples. There's no Mega Magic, there's no processing to them. It's just dry. But those are samples from that session, so they're included for free in this library. This week, a new synthesizer came out from a company called Martininc. I think it's Martininc. I think it's one word. At first I thought it was like Martin Inc., like incorporated, but no, it's Martininc from what I can tell. And so if we go over here to their website, Martin has released the AX73. Now, way back in the day, I worked at a music store in Seattle, Washington, and I sold the Akai AX60 and the AX73 to customers. And so it's cool to see someone modeling up, like he was really meticulous with the modeling for the way that it works. It's really interesting how it sounds. I'm going to show that to you. Another thing that came out this week that is really, really cool, my friends at Cable Guys, I worked years ago on their Curve 2 synthesizer. They've been family for a while, and they've released a really cool new module for ShaperBox 2 called Noise Shaper. And they got, I believe, some registered names that everybody's going to know to provide some of the noise sources that are able to be used for superimposing all sorts of noises over any audio. And it has envelope following, so it can follow. It's really cool. So Cable Guys, I think it's like 29 euros, $34 to have this. They also have a thing where you can get the full bundle. If you don't have ShaperBox 2, it's really become pretty sick what you can do with this, with filtering, panning, volume, changing of speed, which is super, super cool. Noise, the filter, all that kind of stuff. I'll show that whole thing to you in this live stream. So that there's also this to, maybe we'll start here. Coming Tuesday, there is something new coming from our friends at Spectrasonics. They released this teaser video. I will play. Let's see here. Let's turn off my webcam so it make it a whole presentation for those of you that haven't seen this before. So see you in a minute. And let's make this full screen, like up here, like this. Does this show up right? I think so. Okay, so here we go. Something new coming. This is their announcement. Now, I hear machine in there at one point. Whether that's intentional or not, I don't know. I have no idea what they are up to. They are kind of the kings at releasing what you don't expect, what you don't know that you don't know you need it until they show you that you need it type of things, which is really cool. So we'll just have to wait and see for two. It's really interesting that it's the day after Apple's big event on Monday where they're supposedly showing new Pro hardware. And then we're going to get the day after that, Spectrasonics releasing something. So lots of curiosity as to what it's going to be, right? So I've reversed the audio too, and it's just as confusing backwards as it is forward. But forward, I heard possibly a couple words in there, but you know, we'll wait and see. They've got something they're working on, and you know, most everybody I know buys everything Spectrasonics releases when it comes out. So I just see a scary watching the stream from behind the couch. Keith, that's funny, man. That's funny. I love that. So all sorts of cool stuff this week. So to start with, the coolest thing of all, the AX73 from Thank You, Dr. Bizzle for Martinic, is that we have unified all 600 patches already. So they are here ready for you to call up and play. And you have this interface. And then what's fun with Unify is that we can go over here and say we want to do ballerina. Let's load that. And then let's add blade strings. And then let's right click on the low note and make that C. And let's go up here to text because it has everything for keywords and stuff. So we can say we want to have deep dive, and I want to have ELP drone, and I want to have garage bass. Right click the top note for all three right here and play B. And now I'm playing 6 AX73 patches. This is something you can't do anywhere else. Nobody else can play any of their patches combined. So Unify has this just wonderful ability that anything you see, you could go pad and say fat fifths. That's one patch. And the AX73 is no slouch because if you go to the settings, there's actually 2 layers that you can set up. And this is just one layer, so. But we could go over here and say happy brass pad and in orbit and just like that. So let's look at this plugin for a second. Nice, fuzzy. It's basically, like I said, it's able, the one thing with the AX73 versus the AX60 was that it's basically 2. Now, it was a single oscillator. This has the ability to do 2 oscillators per layer, which is cool. PWM, the sub with levels. So you basically get 3 oscillators plus noise. You have your envelopes. There's 4 different envelopes, including a delay at the beginning, which is cool. Right? You got 4 LFOs. You have a separate effects section with all of these effects. You can actually change the chain around here, I believe, by just clicking on the parts and moving it. So you want the reverb at the beginning, you want the EQ at the end, you want distortion at the very end. I guess you probably have to turn it on before you can move it. So let's see, distortion on, and then you can change the order of it so that it's now number 8. So it has some really cool flexible capabilities to the patches. Preset browser here to see it this way. And they have everything here where you can choose bass and as you can see, there's the Doctor Mix, handful of patches, which if you turn this off, the whole library is consisting of 8 patches, I believe. And then the legacy are all the patches that came with the AX73. So there's over 600 patches. All of them have been unified into 3 separate libraries. So you have the Dr. Mix library, you have the factory, and you have the legacy. Something about the way that the conversion was done makes it a separate file for the PC versus the Mac. So I believe I put into the description for the video, the Mac version has its own download link, the PC has its own download link. Download the appropriate version, and then you just drag it over the interface of Unify and say OK, or go to the settings and click select .guru file to load the Guru file, and that will load in all 3 libraries in a single load, and then you have all 3 of these. Now you need to, of course, own AX73. It is available on a I'm not seeing you in the Skype, folks are saying sound is a little low. Yeah, I had that last week, and let me see. Loop back. See if there's a setting to get the volume a little louder. I have everything at 100% as far as I can tell, but I see the volume is a little low in Soundflower, even though it's 100%. Okay, well, let's do this. I can take this up a bit, and this, is that better? Hopefully that's a little bit better. Testing 1, 2. That a little bit better. Yes, and Shane is here. He had some things to do today, but it's nice to see him show up. Has a wonderful low end. Yeah, as Shane points out. The other thing that's really cool, as Shane is pointing out, is we contacted Martininc and got Shane talked to them. These patches were made through an automated conversion process. So it didn't require us loading each patch and saving it, loading each patch and saving it. Shane was able to take the factory content from AX73, put it through a process. That's why I think there's a PC and a Mac version that went a little bit different. But yeah, Martininc, they're great people, really supportive. I should show over here on Dr. Mix, he's got a couple like big, nice pads. The Dr. Space piano. So, cool stuff. Really cool. It's on sale at half off. So go to, I'll get you the website again, Martininc for the AX73. Yeah, it's introductory price right now on basically half price. So that's a pretty sweet deal to get a nice retro analog synthesizer. If you need one of these, we can definitely say we like it. And you have all the patches in Unify format, so you can easily just take and also, I should point out, if you go to save, the name of the programmer is also here. So if you said Mark, I think it would get all of, let's see, if we go GIJ, I'm going to copy paste that. That's a especially unique name, Mark. Yeah. So now, yeah, these are all his patches. And they'd show up here in the list too, but the list has gotten kind of big as all of you guys have been contributing to the database as we go. So yeah. So certain patches, it's always fun when you find someone's patches you like and you want to hear more patches that they've created. Because of all the tags being incorporated in here, you're able to search, find, check them out. It's really, really cool. So. Let's see here. Let's add lush fifths to this. Also, I should point out on the knobs, I went a little bit crazy. There's 8 on page 1 and there's 6 on page 2. So you can play with the parameters from the interface of Unify if you want. You can automate all this stuff into your DAW while you're working with it. It's all set to play, have lots of fun. So. Good stuff, right? So check them out if you want a nice synthesizer. There you go. Hey, Martininc is here. Hello, Martin. Nice synthesizer. Well done, my friend. And really nice. So. I love this interface. I love seeing actual keys of an AX73. If you go to their website, there's a really cool video where an AX73 is playing for one of the demo songs. It's playing with nobody playing it, but the keys are going up and down and stuff. It's like, that's very cool. You spend a little time getting that to work. It's very, very fun. So. Cool. Seriously got some nice harmonic capabilities. Covers the full spectrum. Cool synth. Cool stuff. So there's different modes for the different types of filters, etc. It's really well set up. Lots of fun stuff to play with. So enjoy. We can now play MIDI and Blender. Yeah. Was it makes? So Derek is asking, what the synth came out in 1986. Was the AX73 most known in Italian disco dance tunes? You know, I think it was used for a lot of those types of tracks, but it was used in the States. When I worked at the music store in Seattle, Foreigner was a big endorsee of Akai synths. They traveled with the it was the AX80, I think was the big one that had everyone's attention. The AX60 was actually kind of like this I don't know, the step down from the big AX80, but I liked it actually more, and it had the ability to connect to the S612 sampler by a special cable, so you could actually program the parameters of the S612 sampler from your AX60, I recall, or something like that. There used to be this really cool connection between the two, which made it really fun. So, no, it's just a really cool synth. You know, Akai synths didn't get a lot of recognition at the time because Korg and Roland and Moog. Well, Moog not so much in the 80s, but this is right about when the DX7 hit, which kind of like made everybody kind of forget about every other synthesizer for a while. But everybody else was still making cool synths, and Akai did some cool synthesizers during that era. And so these were those that they did. It's really cool stuff. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so let's go from here to cable guides. I'm going to show this to you with drum grooves to start with, because it's kind of fun what it can do. Let's call up a drum groove from Chill Guitar. And let's go over here. Let's go to our effects, to Cable Guys, and Shaperbox 2. Oh, you're not gonna. It was doing this last night to me. I have this since I upgraded this computer. It's really interesting. I've had. I upgraded this older Mac Tower to 10.14, and something with the graphics card kind of isn't. There's something not quite right compatibility-wise. I've had this problem before, so let's see if I quit this. And then get Unify back. There's my audio back. Let's try to get a guitar group, drum groove again. Okay, let's try again. Cable Guys, Shaperbox. There we go. Thank you. So noise is the new module. Now, as you can see, they still have one more slot. So hopefully they have something else coming. I'd love to see some sort of an effect, reverb, something like that. But you have time, drive, noise, filter, crush, volume, pan, and width that all can be set up to have envelope following cool stuff happen. And down here's their preset box. And if we just said noise, and let's play straight. Oh, it's already. There's without. Add it. And I'm adding a noise layer to this. And it's using the envelope follower. I could bring up a threshold. Noise is where it gets really interesting. You have all of these noises, preamps, hums, vinyl, fizzy, scrapping. Right? You also have by frequency. So if you don't want the high frequency to touch it, so now it's only to the kick drum, right? So it's very flexible. And then on top of this, you can go crazy with creating curves. Do this and set it to like a 16th note. And again, since this is Shaperbox, that means this is just one element. So say that we set this up a certain way. Say we like that. You just hit plus here, and I can choose something else like time, which can do some just crazy wicked things like this. Let's see, why am I not hearing it? I have this right there. Okay, I should have time working, so let's go time. Oh, maybe this is something where, yeah, we need to set this so it starts to the clock. And I need to set my range higher. There we go. I was missing clock information, so. Because it has to have the clock working. So you can have it do little delicate things, or you can actually have it like get pretty carried away and do really crazy like crazy timing things that are fun. Right? Crazy stuff like this. Then if you get into their full presets that say all, you can see the little boxes are lit up as to what is being modulated, which is cool. So you can get these things where, let me see, scratch fills. it gets really carried away. What it's doing, and so now it's playing this, filtering, time. We go over here, add noise to it, add hum. Really, really cool. So it's an additional thing to add texture, vibe, turn things into old retro loops, all sorts of ways to use it. So it's a ShaperBox is just a brilliant product because it gives you access to so many cool possible, ShaperBox, so their website, if you don't know where it is, cableguys.com, and then you can go from there to find all the stuff. But you have all these different modules that you can buy separately, or you can buy them all together now. So it's become a pretty cool addition to the kit. And like I said, it can mess things up. You can say all, and then you could say I want like lo-fi. You go into like the retro kind of stuff. Fun stuff. They also have a cool syncing system where you can get new patches by hitting sync, and new patches that have been added to their database can be added to their plugins, which is really cool. So highly recommended. Good stuff. Really fun. Very creative. Yeah, you can take sounds. What it does is it's like an LFO tool type of a thing, but it's applicable to other parameters. So what's interesting with this is, let's see if we go back here to init. Let's see, close that. I guess that's how I close the window. Let's see if we go all. Well, we can say X and X. So we're back to just audio. Each of the boxes that you can add will give you different tools like drive. Then you have different envelopes down here. It's sample accurate envelopes that can do really cool things. And then what's fun is you can go, no, I want to also have this work with volume and do like LFO tool kind of things like we do with Pumphausen. And set this to its own timing values of eighth nodes. So if you create something like, right? And then on top of this, add a filter at the end. So we say filter. And you can just simply set the filter to a certain frequency. There's all sorts of types of filter types. Then you can go over here and add. And it can be to different parameters. Like this filter cutoff can have its own curve shape. And I can have resonance be its own shape on top. So you can do things in a really cool, creative way to get all sorts of variations. And I think you can save these as different preset patterns so you can like trigger to change from one pattern to another. I think it's more than just one repeatable pattern. Cool stuff. Very, very powerful. For taking and transforming audio, it's a unique interface. So like it a lot. Lots of fun. Okay. Is Curvebox still worth it when you have ShaperBox? Still worth it when you have ShaperBox. Yeah, you're welcome, Derek. Well, I think ShaperBox too. I have ShaperBox. Now, let me call up ShaperBox if it still will load. And I think Shaperbox was more limited, right? And, you know, I don't even know if this is going to load properly because it seems to be missing something. This isn't how it's supposed to look. But they've added more things, made it modular, more presets, more refinements for Shaperbox 2. If you own Shaperbox 1, you could probably get a pretty smoking upgrade to get Shaperbox 2. So maybe send them an email or look to see if they have some sort of an upgrade place after you log in. A lot of times companies' websites, mine's not smart enough yet, but hopefully someday, where it can look and say, hey, you've got this, do you want this? And you can save money by doing this. Really, really cool stuff like that can happen, right? So I think it's worth it. I think it's pretty cool. So it's up to you guys. My job is just to show you what's out there, show you examples of how it works, and say, this is cool. If Unify supports it, it's cool. And as you can see, Unify, it works great. In fact, we show you the MIDI so you can have access to playing it and controlling it with MIDI. Good stuff, okay? Before we move on to programming with UniSCREAM, last week, little pie in my face, I want to clean up real quick. With INSTAComposer 2, I made kind of a, you know, speculative comment, which was totally not true. And our friends at WA Productions have helped set me straight so that I have information to know what they're talking about. And that's in regards to the INSTAComposer. I kind of made this comment that there's just this database of files or something like that. I was just not really thinking what I said when I said it. And that's not true at all. It's definitely using its own form of artificial intelligence to create from scratch. There's no MIDI files inside of it, how it works. I've further refined the file that's the template. And you can find this in a link in the video description. And I'll probably put this all on the website too for this starting template so it can play. Right? And you have basically the same interface. You can look over to see what the parts are, but now what's really cool is you can go to Unify, and each of these layers you just double click, and if it's supposed to be a pad, then you go to the pads and just click a patch and it will load it in for that part. So it's really, really easy to use for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 5 MIDI channels. And here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 5 different lanes that can be playing. You can say all and recreate. Each time you hit go, it's making totally new data. And it won't repeat it. That's one of the things that was really clear, is that because the algorithms, the way that they're doing things, it doesn't repeat itself. It's not like you're going to hear similar parts again, per se. Each time you click this. And then what the part's going to play is dependent on what you choose here, whether it's the ostinato, riff, bass, pad, chords, stuff like that. And then you can just choose one at a time. Here's for the chord progressions. So you can set it up to do some really complex chord progressions for your song that you've already written, and then say go, and it will generate ideas for you. Find something you like, click right here in the lane and drag, and you've now made a MIDI file with what it has created for you. So it's a great product. I didn't mean to demean it by giving it the, I myself, I kind of roll my eyes when I hear artificial intelligence, because I've bought reverbs and synths that say they have artificial intelligence, and it doesn't really seem that intelligent to me. But this is definitely far more intelligent, and it's not based on anything. So I just want to clear up. It's a very cool, especially for the price they're asking for it. In fact, here, let's go tell you their page one more time. waproduction.com is their website. They're good folks. They have communicated with me a lot to help me understand what's going on. And INSTAComposer is right here, and it's still just this crazy price of $27 or $29.70 to get this artificial little help you get song ideas going MIDI effect plugin. So highly recommended, and I'm sorry for throwing little shade on their technology. It was not my intentions at all. And you can save the if you also, yeah, Shane says if you play it and you find something that it's doing cool, just save it as a new patch, and that way when you call it back up, it will call back up that melody part that you had created, so you can refer to it again in the future. You know. Okay, so just to be clear, I beg for forgiveness. I'm sorry for doing that with WA Productions, because it's a plugin that's doing something more than just calling up MIDI files. It's being far more complex and intelligent than that. Okay, so having said that, let's get to UniSCREAM 2021, and I want to explain how to make patches. We're going to make a couple patches from scratch, and the thing I really want to make that you understand is that just because I to save time in some respects, but also to give you access to everything in kind of like each person's little contribution, they're available in what's called a map. So if we go over here to Total Insanity, say we want to use this sound right here. We don't have a way to show you when we play a note what's going on. But if I just select from this list, yeah, there it is. And then if I want the original pitch to be here, then I just need to transpose it up 2 octaves. So I go just plus 24. And now middle C plays it. Then I could go over here, I could say high pass. Get this to be like sounds like a pig squeak, right? Then we could go over here to the pad, add this Digimotion pad. And let's take this, let's add reverb. And if you want, that's enough to be a patch right there. So you just click save, save it to UniSCREAM. The way to save is to always, what is this? It's a pad. Anything with a slow attack, long release is a pad. It's a fast attack, short release, like you're gonna play like, you know, something more poppy and short and stabby and stuff, that's a synth. So this is a pad, so you go pad, pigs in space. And I'll go JL, you put your initials at the end, put your programming name here. Categories, you put one thing here. What's its main thing? It's a pad. Then for tags, just things that describe it. Pad, slow attack, digi is part of it for the pad vibe and stuff like that. Texture, pig, whatever you want. These aren't really specific, or there's not a thing you need to go anywhere. Save as, you can save this once it gets its hard drive woken up to the hard drive. And you now have saved pigs in space, right? Now, let's take this farther, and then we're gonna update this patch so that instead of the pig texture just sitting there, let's go over here. Let's say we want to have it sync to notes. We want to have it be sample and hold random doing pitch. And then on top of this, let's get a pump house to give ourselves some sort of motion. So we can go over here to dynamics, pump house. I'm gonna go to the presets and play around with what's called the rhythmic pulses. These are different presets that preset pulses. And then the way the pump house works, you have a depth control where as you bring this down, it's gonna let some of the non-pulse leak through. Let's go back to Guru Sampler, make this 8th note. Now, because I've done this, I'm gonna change the name because now it's become a BPM pad because I've made something that has motion to it. And so click update, and now you've updated it to be BPM pad. And if we want to take this further, well, let's make another one. We're gonna make like 3 or 4 patches to get you the Let's do this. Let's play with this. Now, I loaded this as a Unify layer so that I'd be able to go in and play around and stuff, but it's really easy to go right here and say replace with the embedded instrument 1 because this is a layer that's just got one layer, right? So instead of having this embedded in Unify, let's pop it out by just going boom. And now it's just Guru Sampler playing the pad patch. And let's do this. Let's bring up some resonance. Wow. Yeah, I like that. Maybe we want to have some fun with Lfos. So let's go over here. Let's say saw down, sync to notes. Let's say 16th notes and filter cutoff. Now, the range is too wide, so instead of bipolar where it's positive and negative, just have it do positive. Let's find the right settings. See, you don't hear it at the beginning. The way to think about LFOs and envelopes and so forth is think of ceilings. And if you have the sound starting with the filter up here, then anything going above that you're not going to hear because it's already at the ceiling. So once it starts to come down from the ceiling, this envelope is bringing it to a sustain level that's low. So at some point, there's going to start being wiggle room in the ceiling for the LFO to take place, and you'll hear it. Right? And how long it takes before it gets there, that's dependent by my attack and decay of the envelope and where my envelope intensity is at. If I bring this down, it's going farther into below the ceiling, so. Right? Let's find the setting. And then I want my sustain to be a little bit higher. It's not quite so dark. Like I said. And with filters in this particular synth, because of the way it's set up, 5% to 1% is a huge part of the sound of the filter. So okay, cool. So I've updated this. I don't need to change the name. So there's a really cool way. If you hold down Option and click Save, I've updated the patch. So I have revised it to have these new abilities with the pad to have motion. Right? Are there loop on and off, start and end settings for Guru Sampler? There are not. We don't have access to the loop parameters. Typically, if it's, everything I do with loops has crossfade loops that are embedded in the samples. You move the sample endpoint anywhere and you're going to break that. We do have sample start, and we use that all the time. And there's a random for sample start so that you can take, and we have a library coming out, I should point out, next week called Planet Pluck. It was supposed to be this week, but I have a friend here from Tel Aviv, and so I've been showing him Portland, and we've been doing some work together. And also, all of these patches, a lot of them didn't have knob assignments. So myself and Taylor, who's been typing away nicely in the chat over here, have been going through every one of these patches, and like here are the knob assignments, and it's not quite named and set up the way I want it to be. Also organization, like this is a patch that has play a note and you get additional notes. So this actually goes not in the BPM pluck category, but in the BPM ARP category. So we can update there. And then for the knob assignments, I'll show you what I do. This is what we're doing to 538 patches. Right here, Planet Pluck, we'll set up the knobs, including sample start, which it's, oh, he's using combo box for this. Okay, so he's got jitterbox for one part. So this will take a little bit of work. So I'm gonna put a little heart right here because it's gonna have to do some programming to go into the parameters. I'd go to sample start, I'd click right here, and I'd go into combo box, into Guru sampler, and this is sample start. So then we go up here to sample start. And this is the amp attack. So we gotta go replace into combo box, into amp attack. There, now it's working, save. And so I have to do that to all these other knobs. So this way, when it's all done, you guys, I want this library to be, this is an incredible pluck library of just unbelievably cool patches of all sorts of plucks, from real to synthetic. And but the idea being, and if you look inside of the Guru samplers, there's a lot of stuff where the samples are at different starting points, and also random is used a lot. So you do have those parameters to play with. So let's use those in UniSCREAM. We're gonna make a library with random sample starts for some fun stuff. And we're also gonna make a MIDI file. So let's do this. I'm playing the standalone version of Unify. I'm gonna turn it down for a minute because I wanna make a groove for this, but I have to do it in Logic. So here's Logic. It's running my microphone, and I have Unify right here set up so I can go like this and play Unify. And let's go over here to that same drum kit, and right here. So we want to make a spooky groove for this. So I'm just going to sequence something. So we have start of an idea. Hide the movie. We don't need that going on. Let's add a little clap. Okay, so we got a little bit of fun stuff. We want to add some screams. Maybe we'll add a scream. It's Halloween, man. This is. Let's add the maracas. We're going. And then I'm going to use Logic's tools here to take the maraca and just bring the whole thing down in velocity a little bit more so it's even softer. I'm going to quantize with the Q key right here, but bring down the strength. 70, okay? So I have a drum groove I've made. Let's go over here and name it. This is the UniSCREAM Groove 1. How's that for creative? Copy. Oh, I have something on the down before the downbeat. You always want to make sure with MIDI files that you don't have anything before the downbeat. So set this to 1. And the other thing that's critical is to go back to the piano player roll and look at the very last measure. Make sure you don't have anything that's playing over this line right here into measure 5. If this note is like this, then it's going to add an extra measure of silence. It's a pain in the butt that MIDI files do this, but this isn't the only, MIDI box isn't the only sequencer that if you have a note passed into measure 5, then it just by logic says, well, I have to have an extra measure to compensate for that measure. So don't let notes bleed over like that. Okay, so we can copy the name, export, put it to the desktop, paste the name. I think this put it to the wrong desktop file, but let's see here. I can get it back really quick. Here it is right here. So you want to put this into the Unify library. So before you use this in Unify, go to the libraries, go to UniSCREAM 2021, go to the MIDI files folder, make a folder with your name here. And that's where you'll put your MIDI files. I have one already, so I'm going to put this into my folder and I'm going to delete this, but that's what you do. You make a folder here with this. When you send files to me, only send me one file towards the 28th when you're done. Don't send, I've had years when I've done this where I've had people send me patches every day. Please don't do that. Just let it build up. Give the patches at the deadline, like the 27th, the 28th is just fine with me. So I can delete that. Now I can make, let's see, let's do this. So I can turn the volume down on the Unify inside of Logic. I still want to see the keys, but now I can go back to Unify. We can go over here to the UniSCREAM library. Let's call up the drum kit. Now, I need to have it play a MIDI file. So right here in the little yellow box, click, go. I want to add MIDI box. And the library I want it to look at is UniSCREAM 2021. Click here, it will open that folder. And here's my John Limcool. And we did Groove 1 for UniSCREAM. Okay, so make sure that you have this set, if it's a drum groove, to play only. If you have it set to transpose, then as you play different notes across the keyboard, middle C will play. Everything else is going to be kind of funky. So set it to play if it's a drum groove. Okay, go to tempo. We have this at 95, right? Oh, it made it a 5 measure groove for some reason. So let's do this. Let's drag it into Logic. Yep. It must be something here I am telling you to avoid this, and look at that. There's a note up here for the scream that went over. Shorten that. Oops. It's kind of cool to do this, show you that I'm human too. I'm going to make mistakes like you wouldn't believe. Copy, export. I'm going to paste this back to the desktop. Paste. Let's get rid of this one. Move to trash. So when I save this, it will save a new one right here, which I will then move into my Unify folder, libraries, UniSCREAM 2021, MIDI files. Let's get rid of Groove 1. And let's put this one in here. And since it was 95 beats per minute, I think I'm going to go 0.95, or actually I don't need a 0, but let's put a 0 so it fits in with everything else. So there it is. So now I can go back to Unify and say, hey, let me load this again. There it is. Now it's 4 measures. And it will play right. Cool. And then add to this. It's really fun to go to the standard library, maybe go like BPM Bell. Start with something like Celestial Dreams. Load this into Unify layer. And then maybe choose a different sound so we can see what it sounds like with different things. Maybe let's duplicate this. So we can say duplicate, and let's bring this so they're close together, and let's choose a different sound, like maybe from a different library, like maybe the violin spiccato. Let's go violin spiccato. Let's do that dry. And then use random sample start. And with that sample start, this is supposed to be more synthetic, so I'm gonna play with it a little bit. I'm gonna go over here and say actually let's go custom shape, one shot, unipolarity. There, I've made my own fake attack. Let's do a similar thing for the guitar. Let's make it more synthetic and kind of fun and poppy too. So we want to go custom shape, one shot, unipolarity, pitch. Randomize the start. And I want to add a little EQ to this, make it brighter. And then I want some I love doing stuff like this. I'm gonna make some sort of a really gnarly, gross bass to offset this pretty. It's always fun to do stuff like this. So let's right click on these two and say C, because we want these just to play up here. Let's go to basses. We could start with something here like aggression, maybe one of the hollow ones, because these I can add distortion and cool stuff too. So load this. I'm gonna just load the instrument. I don't need to load the whole Unify layer. I just want the instrument. And right click and say stop at B. Let's go to distortion noise box. Let's say power curve. And let's go high pass filter. And then maybe we'll trick this out with maybe a pump house or something, give me some fun motion. Let's go to presets, sidechain. And I think I need to go over here and go to 2 loop. So I want to sustain out. And then on top of this, let's get something like God mode. And this, we're gonna load the whole Unify layer. Oh, we need to right click on the top and say B, so it's only the... Maybe I want both of these to go through the same pump house. So I'm gonna change my strategy, copy the pump house state, delete it. Turn down the direct so I don't hear the bass. I'm gonna make a new auxiliary layer. That's gonna be the bass channel. So let's go over here, we'll go noise box, paste the state of noise box so I have that distortion back. Oh, didn't I? Oh, I might have copied pump house. So let's see, noise box, operation, copy state. Yeah, I did the wrong one, but noise box is still there, thank goodness. So go over here and go to operations, paste. So I can have this sound where and I want the dry signal of the dark sub to also go through. So I'm getting there. And I need these to be mono, so we go over here, make sure this is set to mono legato. And let's call this, this is a BPM split, SPLIT, painful, pillows. How's that? Painful pillows. Save as, save. So there. Let's see, let's open up our pad a little bit more. There we go. And we have a pump house doing some work. I'll have to refine this a little bit more, but that's getting more complex, starting with making our own MIDI file. So that's really, really fun to do that kind of stuff. So, do any of the synths included supports micro tuning? I think DX might. Go to parameters. No. Oh, here we go. Tuning. You have different tuning scales or KBMs, so you can load up presets. So yeah, you can do that with DX if you really want to get into that type of stuff. Right, okay. So as you can see, there's that kind of capabilities to play with. Let's do one more. I want to show you the hits. This is a case where you're going to need to yes, Shane just dropped a nice little Easter egg to you guys. He's working on an update for Unify for 1.7. We found a few things to fix, and he's adding some little features. I'm actually running a beta of it right now, but we've got a ways to go before we release it, so that will be very fun. So if you want to use something from an orchestra hit, you can either start with the hits here, where I've done this work for you. Right? They're here to play with. These are fun. I'll release a library of these someday. I've got hundreds of hits that I've made over the years. Many of them are in Korg synthesizers and stuff like that. And here's a few new ones. So if you go to the drum kit up at the top, have hits. How do you get to these? How do you use these? So if you open Guru Sampler, go to the map, no, not there, but if you go to right here where it says all samples, down here you'll see hits. And that was the brass finale. By choosing it, now you tune it. This is the way to tune things. And this will be the same case if you use this, or else if you use a map from, say, the Dark Breath map, there's textures and stuff in some of these other maps. So what you do, go to layer, say add empty layer, and this adds a sine wave synth, our default sine wave synth. So you can play that, it's in tune. So anything that you're layering it with, you can hear whether it's in tune. There. Now maybe up an octave, which is plus 14. So now I know I'm in key to everything else in Unify. So now you can option and click right here to remove it. So if I was to go from here, go layer, add a new instrument layer with strings, and let's say we want to do like violins. I like where that's headed already. So I'll just play a little bit faster. And then let's duplicate this and have this could be pipe organ. And let's go Guru Sampler, go to UniSCREAM 2021. Make sure if you have both 20 and 21 libraries, don't access 20. Don't access the 2020 library. Make sure it's only Unified 2021 for UniSCREAM. There's a slightly different version of the Mega Pipe Organ. So combine that with the hit. And maybe we need some synthy brass, so we could go over here to the Unify standard library, go looking for brass, something that says brass in the name. There's some fun ones here like the 80s Revival, Bold Brass. Let's load that. Let me turn down everybody else a little bit and up the brass. Cool. So we need effects to give this some sort of a cool space. So let's go to reverb. I really like the way that the Dragonfly Hall sounds. Natural, and then let's bring up just a little bit like this. A little bit more. And maybe I want to duplicate the brass. So say duplicate again and take them by holding an option down an octave. And maybe let's make it a little bit darker. And even deeper. It's like insane levels of deep. Give them their own reverb space. Maybe we want them to stop right here. And I'm going to hold down some keys to give it a little bit of a velocity curve. So they're just huge down here. And save. So we could call this either synth. I know that it's synth and hits and all that stuff, but we call it hitting out of the hall. And this is, we'll call it synth. It feels more like orchestra, but it doesn't have the vibe like you're going to play classical with it, so we'll call it synth. But we can say brass, strings, pipe, organ, orchestra, hit, save as, save, done. Right? Now let's make one more really basic. I want to make a texture, something kind of weird and spooky, right? I'm going to make this in as simple as possible so that you guys have the chance to like really follow these steps if you want. Let's go over to one of these other hits, like Issa Johansson. I'm not sure how to say the name, but let's play with this sample. That'd be cool to have across the whole keyboard. So open Guru Sampler, go to all samples. I think this is old horror movies. Let's take it down a couple octaves so we have lots of range for. And I don't want the mud, so I'm gonna high pass filter it. I really want just that stuff. Let's take it down even another octave. And if that's not enough, we can take this down too, so we can, I just want weird texture stuff out of this, right? And then let's go to layer, add a new, let's say from Guru Sampler. Let's start with something, Dreamvox. This would be nice. But we want to make it really, really slow. Maybe we need to get more. Let's find something that loops. So let's go to, let's see, I don't know if I sampled and looped any of those, but there's in the total insanity map, I believe. Let's get this all back to normal. Like up here, these really cool stuff like this. If I turn the filter off, it's got noises and stuff like that. Let's find that. There it is. Calling 01. Let's turn on the high pass. So we just have that cool high texture. So here's without it. But with it, we get this really cool, just something moving and swirling. Let's go to modulation, add a flanger. Slow it down really slow. And then let's maybe put this to a delay. And let's distort the delay. But turn it down. Right? So, and say we wanted to add pump house to add later. Like we want to add a 16th note or an 8th note pulse to this. So let's make our pulse shape by just inverting this. Now maybe I want to go bum, bum, bum. So I want twice this length. So cut it to halftime. Go to the presets to the number of pulses. Let's say 4 down. And delete this one. Now I have it. And we can hide it so you don't hear it. And let's go to the knobs. And let's go to this one right here and call it pump house. So pump house. And you go to the linked parameters. I want to do the full range. So I click this box. That way it's going to make the curve be the full range. And then we can go over here. Or we could do it this way. We could say, I want it to be the full range right here. So that might help. So we go over here. This is layer 1, effect, pump house, depth. As you can see, a new parameter coming in Unify will be a bypass. So we'll be able to bypass effects on the knobs. It's one of the cool things we're adding. And then I'm going to take this in here that, see, the left side is the current value where it's currently at. But I want to go to the opposite. So now as I bring up this controller, I can go from nothing to 100%. Right? Maybe we want to add one more element to this. Kendall Cochran create a really cool texture called underground drain pipe. So let's load just the instrument. And again, I don't want all that frequency content. I'm just interested in adding some of the high end. But I want it to come down a bit. So let's have it start high. If you want to make it even stick out even more, bring up resonance. Maybe I want it not to get that low because it sounds like a bathtub. Let's have it start really high. Just this texture that's there, and then let's bring up some reverb on it. I will let it come down a little bit lower so we bring a sustain down. Let's go save this as a pad. Bewitched drain pipe. It's the bewitched drain pipe. So we go, this is a pad. And then I could add, you know, pad, warm, vox, and then texture, and sweeping, all that kind of stuff. Save as, save. So there's a number of examples of, and this is one where you have pump house ready when you're ready. Oh, you know what? We should put this also onto, let's put this, that same pumping drain pipe available, go noise, not noise box, but pump house, dynamics, pump house. Copy this pump house setting, just go say copy plugin state, go down here and say paste plugin state. And then this is really cool. Go to pump house. It's in layer, it's effect slot 3, same in both, right? So this is really fun. I can go over here, I can say duplicate that assignment and just go where it says layer 1 and change it to layer 3. Boom. I now have made it so that it's going to play both layer 1 and layer 3. Right? So you have now both the drain pipe and the cool texture. So control, hold down option, click save, update, okay? If we embed MIDI controller info into our MIDI files, yes, you can. Just remember that it's one of these things where it's dependent on a knob being assigned to a CC, and some people will change that. So we don't have a system built in where it's accessing the knob without using MIDI CCs. So typically it's MIDI CC1 that you'll use just to control the mod wheel. And if you have the mod wheel doing something, there's all sorts of examples of patches where that's happening, in fact, where I've set up, if you go init, go over here, call it Guru Sampler, turn on the filter, right? And then go over here, call up MIDI box, and go to the standard library. There's all these, as you will see right here, MIDI box LFO. These are all LFO things set to MIDI CC1, like whole note triangle. So it's playing. Now I need to allow notes to go through. And then I need to program this so that the mod wheel is doing the mod wheel. And now you have a MIDI box LFO. Right? And what's fun with this is you can go to the speed and speed this up super fast. Get into weird territory. Torture your MIDI box. Right? So yeah, there's the tools inside of Unify to use MIDI box as an LFO if you want. So you can definitely do that. We've done it before. All right. So I think we're gonna hear this patch in a movie scene in the near future. Cool. Yeah, it's you know, it's fun to make cool things. So what was it called? Yeah, the Bewitched Drain Pipe. So these patches I made today, they will show up on October 30th in the final version of the library. please make patches. Have fun. I do this as an opportunity for my community, for all of you guys to play, program, have fun. Send the patches to us at unifysupport@pluginguru.com, and we'll compile the library and get it to everybody on the 30th. So we got 2 days after we get all the deadline data to build from there. So I want to thank so much these people that made patches. Derek Nicholas, Greg Dennis. Sorry, I messed up the text for your, I'll fix that. For Isa Johansson, for Ian Myers, and Stephen Smith, and for Kendall Cochran. Also, there's a handful of textures in here from Celestial Dreamer, which are super cool. We're working on a library he's going to be releasing at my website, probably in November. That will be all sorts of cool, dark textures like this. So if you like stuff like this, you're going to go crazy when this library comes out. So that's in the works. Top secret. Don't tell anybody, okay? All right, yeah, and as you can see, Taylor said where to send the patches. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Isabella, so nice, man. Great stuff. Thanks for contributing. It's fun. So, thank you for watching. And I will see you, let's see, next week there might not be a live stream. I might be at Idaho visiting with my family. I want to go see them, see my mom and dad. I'm blessed at my age to still have my mom and dad here, and I want to spend some time hugging on them. They also have a really old pump organ, and my mom has pianos, a wonderful grand piano and a wonderful upright piano. I'm thinking of sampling those. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to have time on this trip or not, but that'd be kind of fun. But anyway, so there won't be a live stream next week, so I'll see you the week after that, which, let me look at my calendar really quick to see how that works out. I think I want to pop it up over here. So, yeah, if there's no live stream next week, that means you guys are on your own. So please refer to this video. You're welcome, Wrench. Cool. So the next live stream that we have will be with all of your patches combined. So I'll send a newsletter out. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. You can join up at pluginguru.com at the bottom of the page. And I'll remind you guys when it's time to turn in patches. But have fun. Don't forget to like the video if you want. Thank you. Appreciate it. And we will see you on the 30th, just before Halloween, for a Halloween treat live stream, okay? So thank you. All right. See you guys later. Bye. Okay, where do I go to sign off? Here we go. So be well. Thanks again.